Hello, everyone. We're joined today in the Mountain Valley News studio with a very special guest, former college football coach and current U.S. Senate candidate, Tommy Tuberville. Thanks for joining us
Glad to
today.
be here. We're going to get you out of school before long, by the way.
That'd be great.
You're finally going to graduate.
That'd be amazing. I've heard you talk a lot about football and the impact that that's made on your life, how important that is. And in hearing you talk about your platform, you seem very, very passionate about that, almost like that's a calling. Talk about the decision to throw your hat in the ring and what went into that.
Everybody asks me, says, what is your training for politics? And first of all, I don't like being called a politician. I want to be a public servant. Somebody go and help, the people from Alabama and the country and the U.S. Senate. And so I grew up in a military family. My dad was in the military all of his life. He unfortunately died at age 53 in a training mission. And so after that, right after I started coaching, I was never in the military, and over the years I've kind of thought, this is going to be a void in my life because I love this country, I love the military, and I think that obviously we got the greatest country on the face of the earth. And so when I retired 2 years ago after 40 years of coaching, I told my wife, I'm young enough to get in politics, and I think I can help because of everything I've learned from leadership to motivating people, selling yourself, and getting along with people. And that's what you do in the Senate. You got to go up and sell yourself before you can sell your state, which would be Alabama. And then, of course, you got to be trusted. And so I've learned all those things in my career as being a coach. And so I want to give back. I want to go to Washington to help the state of Alabama and our country. And I think that this would be a great opportunity.
In the last election, with some of the controversy surrounding Roy Moore, I think that U.S. Senate seat was seen as being vulnerable, and there was an influx and a lot of outside money that came in to support the Democratic candidate. It's likely that could happen again. Are you prepared for that?
Oh, yeah. And I know what's coming, too, on both sides, even in the primary. I'm an outsider. I think we need more outsiders. We need people going to Washington that's actually had a job, that's actually been around people that understand the good and the bad. And no, this is one thing I'd sit down with my wife and kids. I said, listen, we do this. This is not Paul Feinbaum coming after us. This people are going to come at us from every angle. If they can't find something, they'll make it up. And you see that in every political race. And unfortunately, it's that way. And I'm going to try to be as positive as I can running because I'm not, I don't know anything really about any of the other people. You hear stuff. But if you can't sell yourself, why should you be against somebody else? So that being said, I understand what's coming from the Republicans and also the Democrats because I'm an outsider. I haven't been in politics, and they're going to have to find some way to tear me down. But again, I'm strong. I believe in what I'm doing. I'm doing it for the right reasons, and I think the people from Alabama are going to like what I say for the next 10, 16 months.
For 2 years, Republicans had a majority in the House, the Senate, and had the White House. Obamacare was not replaced. We never got comprehensive immigration reform. What would you say to the Republican voter who's frustrated about that?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm running. I'm frustrated. And basically, my motto is enough is enough. And we did. We had the executive office, we had the House, the Senate, and we couldn't get anything done. And it's all about, the deep state, about people doing things for themselves other than for the people that they represent. And, our founding fathers started the Constitution years ago. Thank goodness for the Constitution, but I've seen things happening now that they're just trying to change the Constitution in a way that they want it to work for themselves. There's no reason why we couldn't have got so much done in President Trump's first couple of years with the House and the Senate and him, but he's an outsider. And they fought it, not just Democrats, but the Republicans fought against him. And I don't know whether it was jealousy or just, hey, we don't do things that way here, because he's a doer. He's a get things done guy. And thank goodness he was elected. And we need to reelect him again because he can get more things done than anybody I've ever seen because he's headstrong, he's an American. My son asked me, Dad, why would you vote for him? Because he doesn't need their money. He's going to go up and do what's right for the American people. And I want to do the same thing. I don't need a paycheck. I'm going up there, represent the people of Alabama, and do how they want to be represented, not how a party wants to be represented.
I've heard all my life that football is sort of a metaphor for life, and you can learn life lessons through football, through playing, coaching. And you've touched on this a little bit already, but what have you learned from football that you can then carry over into the political arena?
Perseverance. I mean, you're going to have good days, bad days. You've got to make sure that everything that you do, that's not going to go over 100%. That you're going to have setbacks. My goodness, in football, you have setbacks. You have days that things just don't work out, and you got to be able to persevere and go through that. So that's a big thing in life. You know, I even tried to teach the kids that we coached was. The one thing was being self-responsible, and the other was, hey, when you get knocked down, get your tail back up and go again. Because in life, that's what it's all about.
And while we're on the subject of football, I have to ask, Carnell Cadillac Williams, a protege of yours at Auburn University, was just named running backs coach. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm excited. Of course, he's going to be lost because, right. He got elevated pretty quick. It took me 20 years to get to a position where it's taken him about 10. He'll be able to do it. He loves Auburn. I'll never forget coming up and recruiting him. He'd already committed to Tennessee, and I convinced him, hey, you're going to be the next Bo Jackson. If you'll come. And he said, Coach, I've already committed to Tennessee. Just come look. Just come visit. And he came to the Plains, and he was sold. And he's been one of the best representatives of Auburn and the state of Alabama of any player I've ever coached, because he is from this state. He was Mr. Football. He could have gone anywhere. And how he handled himself on and off the field. Terrible injuries, broke his leg against Florida one year. I mean, it happened in front of me, and I almost threw up. It was so harsh. But, he's just a hard-nosed, tough running back that really loved college football, loved the state, loved Auburn. And now that he's back at Auburn, I think he's really going to help Gus being the running back coach.
Before we let you go, is there anything else that you would like to say to the people of Northeast Alabama?
Well, I think a lot of people agree with this, and I've only been out for about 3 weeks. And I think the thing that resonates to most people is, and I'm the same way, that we keep sending the same type of people back to Washington, people that are politicians, and we kind of just recycle. And sooner or later, we're going to start sending people to Washington that understand people, that understand, the country, that what we do and what you do in Washington really reflects on people back in your state into the country. And so I want to be a representative. This is not an ego trip for me. I've been in the biggest stadiums. I've been in movies. I've been National Football Coach of the Year in seven different polls, won national championships, been around great people. A lot of people do this for an ego trip. This is not an ego trip. This is a business trip for me. I'm going to try my best to make this state better and this country better by helping Donald Trump. And if I'm elected to do that, I'll do everything I possibly can to make that happen.
Thank you so much for joining us. We know you have a very busy schedule. You took time out of your day to speak to us. Tommy Tuberville, former college football coach, current U.S. Senate candidate. That's going to do it for us from Mountain Valley News.
Hello, folks. This is Andy White down here at Bobby Ledbetter's Twin City in Fort Payne, Alabama. I want to invite everybody to come out to our new location. We're at 1411 Glen Boulevard, right where you turn to go on Airport Road. We've got plenty of inventory for you to choose from. I got cars, trucks, vans, sport utility vehicles of any make and model. Come down here and visit us. Let us see what we can do for you. If you got some slow credit, I've got some banks that'll take care of that. We've got great financing, got a great selection of cars. Y'all come down here and see us.
Don't take the first deal that comes along when you can do better at BobbyLedbetter.com and Twin City Used Car Sales, located at 1411 Glen Boulevard in South Fort Payne.
Hello, welcome to Mountain Valley Today. Today I have Laura and Jerry, and they're going to be talking to us about the Freedom Run, which is June the 15th.
Wow, I know, 32 days away.
We're so excited. The countdown is on.
She's more excited than you, which I think is hard to believe.
Well,
You're not a morning person.
Well, I am a morning person, but I got up this morning like at 4:30.
Okay. So
and worked out with a key, so I mean, oh my gosh.
No,
I've already had a high and now I'm in a low area. I've got to get back
His
into
energy is
another.
gone.
I've got to get into another high area here in a little while.
Well, I was hearing someone earlier today talking about the only reason you ran was for recovery meals.
I love those recovery days. I'm telling you, it is worth the run. for, oh my gosh, I had a great one.
Cheesecake
Well,
Factory.
see, did I make you have a loss of words there for a second?
Well,
Did
I
catch
mean,
you?
well, no, it is. I get to thinking about where all I've eaten, and then I start getting hungry.
And you need to go run again.
Makes me want to go out and run.
Well, the Freedom Run is something that you had, well, I guess a vision for years and years ago. How many years?
This is our 11th year.
Wow.
Our 11th year.
And I know when you started, they labeled you as the crazy one.
Yes, they did label me as the crazy
And
one.
you've added some more
And
crazy people to that.
we actually have a large group of crazies. We've actually got our own Facebook page, so here's crazies. And we go out and we do a lot of crazy runs and all of that. And the race, when we started 11 years ago, we had 175. And last year on our 10th anniversary, we had 920
Wow.
from 5 different countries, 11 different states.
In Rainsville, Alabama.
In Rainsville,
Amazing.
Alabama. In
Amazing.
Rainsville, Alabama. So, I mean, it's just been, when we started, I just didn't know what it would do. But anyway, it's been amazing.
Well, we're very proud of what you've done, the people you've brought to Rainsville, the many, many different groups of people you've been able to help.
Mm.
And that is the purpose, that's what you do it for.
Right, absolutely.
And I think that talks about your generosity and your kindness, and we appreciate you doing that. Do many people ever thank you for that?
Well, I mean,
Or do they run when they see you coming?
They run.
well, I mean, I am so glad you brought that up. I mean, I know I'm the face of this run, but I mean, gosh, it takes so many people.
It does.
It's embarrassing to me, for people to bring the attention to me because I play a very small part in this. I really do.
I think she's disagreeing with you.
I mean, people like
Anybody that'll wear a shirt like that.
Robert
is not
Graham,
a-
y'all.
not
Can I
an
get a hand for
actual
Robert
Oh my
Graham's
God.
shirt?
But we've got Laura. We've got a great board. Laura, Chris Ritchie, Chris Bryant, Amy Simmons,
Pam Willingham.
Pam Willingham. Can't forget Pam, especially her watching this. She'll dog me for not for laugh. But anyway,
Well, she's your number one running
she
partner.
is my
She's the
number
number
one
one.
running partner. Yeah, but I mean, we have so many. And when we first started this back 11 years ago, Rainsville First Baptist, we actually started, through that doing raising money for missions, and then after a few years, we transitioned out of that and started working more with charities. And so, there's a group of folks that I went to that I thought could help us financially because it's expensive to put this race on, especially
Very expensive.
to where we're at right now. And so I actually made the list, and you're just going to give me a minute and let me acknowledge these folks, and then I'll say a few more words.
Don't worry, this is an extensive list, but like you say, they believe in what you're doing.
They do, and Bobby Ledbetter with Twin City Auto, he is our title sponsor.
We
and,
love Bobby.
And Bobby has been with us now, I think this is his 3rd year. A company in Fort Payne, Jet Polymer. State Representative Nathaniel Ledbetter and State Senator Steve Livingston, they've been with me. They've been very generous. City of Rainsville helps us financially. And then obviously, whatever we need from facilities of the city, from the police, the fire department, the street workers, I mean, they're always there.
Tremendous support.
First State Bank, and Laura is first as vice president of First State here in Rainsville. First State is a big supporter of ours. First Southern Bank, RTI here in Rainsville, People's Independent Bank, Doctors Medcare. Then this year North Alabama Community College, Dr. Campbell, he had contacted me and said, "Hey, look, we want to be a part of this run." DeKalb Regional Hospital this year contacted me. Gadsden Regional Hospital contacted me this year, wanted to be a part of the run. Black's Tire, W.T. Wilson, Chick-fil-A, Dr. Decker here in Rainsville Drug, and DeKalb Sportsman in Fort Payne. Those are our sponsors that help finance this race. And, you know, in 10 years, we've given probably a little over $250,000 out to different charities.
Major.
And we could have not have done that without this group of folks right here. Because last year, the cost to put this race on was a little over $28,000. I mean, it's just unbelievable how much it costs to put this thing on. But, you know, when I first started it, the whole thing was that I wanted to give the folks here locally, not just in Rainsville, but our community, the opportunity to see what a big race was like. Because not everybody is crazy like we are, to where, you know, we might drive to wherever or fly to wherever. Like 2 weeks ago, we was in Lexington, Kentucky, and did the mini marathon up there for the Kentucky Derby. So, I mean, you know, I wanted everyone that did like to run, or maybe just like to get out and walk, I wanted them to experience what that was like. And so that's what we've done. And we've done that because of these folks like yourself, you know, Monk here with Mountain Valley News, other, you know, folks here in the community. Because on that Friday night, when we have packet pickup, and then that Saturday morning when the race starts, we'll have 100 volunteers from the city of Rainsville and surrounding areas that will be here to help put this race on. And the crazy thing about it, as it continues to grow each year, you know, from the standpoint of the sponsors, they're here. They're always here for us. And like the door prizes that we give away, I mean, you know, I have people calling me say, hey, look, I'd like to do this, or I'd like to do that, or what do you need? I mean, you know, I had somebody that had never given me anything before, and they called me one day and they said, hey, look, you know, what can we do? What would you like for a door prize? Just tell us what it is you want. And then here other day, I had a guy come up and give me 3 $100 bills. And he said, hey, here's 3 $100 bills, give them away as door prizes. I mean, you know, so that makes it so much nicer and easier and helpful to be able to do that.
Well, and I think the track record that you started 11 years ago just speaks volumes about what you did, the quality of the race you put on. You are like other people that I know, you want to improve. Every year it gets a little better, gets more, makes it more special to be a part of.
Right.
So we thank you so much. I know Laura has a list of people that you're going to support this year. Is that right?
We do, and we always have to make a list because we're always afraid that we'll forget somebody. But we have the summit, and we have been sponsoring them now for a couple of years. And it's a great mission, great facility in Fort Payne. It's a drug treatment rehab for women. And they do excellent work, and we have seen some amazing results come out of that, and we're just really thrilled to have them again as one of the main people that we're going to be sponsoring from our funds. And then we have Running for Uganda, and they did freshwater wells in Uganda. So that shows you a little bit of how our money makes its way all around the world, not just here locally.
And let me say something about this right here about the Run for Uganda. Kate Knowles at Rainsville Community Church, big supporter of ours. Jeff and Tracy Sayre that go there. Gary Hartline. And so Gary, you know, he and Kate's take a group over there, I think maybe a couple of times a year.
Yeah.
And so back last year, before the end of the year, Gary came to me and he said, hey, have you got that banner that I could carry over there with me to Uganda? And I said, well, I do, but I said, we have a different, I said, I haven't had the date changed on it yet. And he said, well, I'll fold the date up. He said, I'd like to take it with me. And so, I don't know who all has seen that video that he did.
Excellent.
But he actually was at one of the wells that they had dug, and some of the Ugandan folks were actually pumping the well, pumping out fresh water. Some of them were holding the banner, the Rainsville Freedom Run banner there beside it. And Gary is talking about this, and then he goes over there, holds his hands out like this right here. They pump his hands full of water, and he drinks that water right out of his hands. And I just thought, oh my gosh. I mean, there is nothing more powerful than to
It's a
see
big
that.
deal.
Because I probably, everybody this morning, when you got up and you maybe made yourself a cup of coffee, or when you took a shower, or when you brushed your teeth, or maybe just got some water to drink, you did not think about that water's freshness.
Take it for
You
granted.
take it for granted. And so, that is life and death for the people of Uganda. It really is. Go ahead, Laura.
Okay.
I mean, really.
I love these little inserts of information
I
that we
think they're
get.
very
They
important
are.
because
They
people
are.
see the reason for participating in the Freedom Run.
Yeah.
Because of the benefits and where the money is going. It's not bankrolled somewhere.
No.
Somebody's got a war chest of money to fund these shirts.
Right,
Right.
that's exactly right.
There are
I
other,
got one by Robert Graham.
How can we not as a trademark?
Oh my gosh.
alright, so next we have,
Running for Joy, and that is Caitlin Lee, and she is out of Huntsville, Alabama, and she is a firecracker of a little girl. Her mission is to help children with cancer. She has even gone so far as to shave her own head to raise money to help other kids, kids that have cancer and are going through that very traumatic experience. So we're always happy to help her.
Yeah, and let me jump in here and say something about Caitlin. I think it was 4 years ago. I think Caitlin is 11 now. 4 years ago, her mother, just out of the blue, one day called me. They live over in Huntsville. And she said, hey, my little girl has started running, and I would like for her to come and run your 10K. Is that okay? And I said, well, we have a time limit. Our 10K is the most difficult 10K in the South.
Yeah.
And I said, so, I mean, just understand that we are very conscious of people's time and respectful of that. So we do start and stop, on schedule. We've got to. I said, but she's welcome to come. So anyway, she came and ran. And so the little girl just really went nuts with this 10K.
and you mean in a positive
In a positive
Yeah,
way, in a
yeah,
very positive
yeah.
way. So she started out raising money for this Running for Joy group. And right now, she has raised, in the 4 years that she's been doing this, she's raised over $50,000.
Wow.
And Laura talked about having her head shaved. She shaved her head for $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
She needed another $5,000, so she had her head shaved. Once she raised that $5,000, she shaved her head, and she's just amazing. I mean, it really is. And so anyway, go ahead, Laura.
Kids Bolt. Kids Bolt is Gadsden Runners Club. They have a summer program for youth to try to get them interested in being outside, being active, not sitting in front of the TV, not playing video games, not being right there with the iPad all the time. So that's a reason that we really believe in that one strongly. And we also have great support from Gadsden. They always send a huge crew to run Rainsville Freedom Run, and they seem to love it as much as we do. And so we're glad to have them here and to support Kids Bold and that mission. Turning Point Pregnancy Center, that is in Scottsboro, and they had their Inspire Life 5K. That was this last weekend,
That was
wasn't it?
that was this last weekend.
But
Finished second in my age group too, by the way.
Second?
Yeah, well, I mean, well, I tell you, I don't know if y'all know.
somebody probably kicked
Do
them.
y'all know James Cook here in
I
Rainsville?
do.
All right, every time I go to a race and I see James Cook, I automatically know I have no chance of winning. Because James he is such a great runner. And so when I saw James there, I said, okay, well, I
Second place.
had no chance of getting anything but second or better, from there. So anyway, anyway.
A great mission over there.
It is. And then we have DeKalb County Animal Shelter. We've helped them in the past. It's actually the Friends of DeKalb County Animal Shelter that the donation goes to, and that is a group that helps find homes for animals and will actually foster animals that need homes if the shelter is full, and provides food and things like that when the funding is short. And then last but definitely not least, and this is one that we're so happy to add this year, this is a new one for us. It's care packages for our troops. And what we're going to do is work with local people who have been in the military or are still involved in the military. And we're going to find ways to get care packages to troops that, need stuff. It's even going to be basic stuff like other things that we take for granted here that they may not have there. Toothpaste, a toothbrush, a card that says, hey, we're thinking about you and we appreciate what you're doing. Just something so that they'll know that we're cheering them on at home and they have our support and we're thinking about them.
Well, Amy Simmons, her son Andrew, who finished school here at Plainview, he left Plainview, went to JSU, went into ROTC, came out as a second lieutenant, and now is overseas. If I say where he's at, I'll get in trouble. But anyway, he's overseas, and so one day Amy was getting some stuff ready, and I, it was like toothpaste and just regular
Basic stuff.
just basic stuff. And I said, "What are you going to do with that?" She said, "I'm sending it to Andrew." And I said, "Do they not have toothpaste and stuff over there?" And she said, "Jerry, what the military has is not like what we use." And said, so that kind of is how we got the idea of working with care for packages for the troops. So we're really excited about being able to do that. And we've talked with Johnny Stewart, who used to be police chief here in Rainsville, and he's overseas right now. I think he maybe still be. And we're going to be working with him and Derek here in the city, who has served 2 terms over in Afghanistan. We talked to him. So anyway. We've got several contacts there.
Well, there are several people we know that are overseas and in the military that have a strong family support system, but there's just as many that don't have that.
That's right.
So as long as you guys can reach out to them through local people, and I just think it's a great and wonderful charity to add to the program. So is this the board that decides which ones we're going to support each year?
Right.
I'm sure that it's hard to whittle the list down.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how people can join in, because we're not quite at our goal.
Right.
I believe I heard you say a moment ago our goal this year is 1,000.
1,000.
That's right. We got to have 1,000. Got to have 1,000. So they can go to RainsvilleFreedomFest.racesonline.com.
That's a long thing.
It is.
It is RainsvilleFreedomFest.racesonline.com.
So if you need to rewind, you can rewind it and listen
Yes.
to it.
There you go. Or they can contact me,
And we have the
Facebook,
link on our Facebook page.
and they can contact Laura. We've got forums scattered out here in Rainsville. We've got forums in Fort Payne. We've got them in Scottsboro. And as we've done some of these 5Ks, they have partnered with us and have scattering forums out like that right there. So, you can register online or you can contact one of us. We'll be able to help you if you have any issues trying to register or something like that.
So you talked a little bit about, in passing, that this was the most difficult race in the Southeast.
Right.
Oh,
I guess you had a hand in designing the
He
mountain,
loves it.
the roads that go up and down in our town.
I did. So,
Were you sadistic when you were doing
well,
that?
let me say this. When we started this, when we started our first year, it was only the 5K. And actually, some girls from Broadway Baptist Church is actually the ones that got me started running, Allison Mitchell. And so it just so happened that 5K route was the first 5K route that I had ever. It wasn't a route at the time that I ran with Allison. It was just a route that she ran. And as it turned out, it was a 5K. So that's how that came about. And so then Skeeter Logan, Skeeter Logan told me one day, he said, look, to continue to grow this race, you might want to consider doing a 10K because there's no 10Ks around here other than maybe like Huntsville, Chattanooga, Gadsden. And so I got one day in my vehicle and I started where we start the 5K, and I drove that 10K, what I thought would be that 10K route. When I came back it actually was right on 6.2 miles. I'm thinking, okay, it's a God thing.
It's meant to be.
It's meant to be. So then I got Chris Ritchie and some of us to run that route. And when we got back, Chris has been running for like 35 years. And when we got back, Chris said, this is the hardest 10K course I have ever ran in my life. And when people find out how hard it is, they'll be coming from everywhere to run it. He said, because people who run 10Ks want it to be hard.
It's a challenge.
It's
They
a
want a challenge.
So that's how that started. Now, one thing that I have been trying to do for the last couple of years is have our course certified, because I thought that that would be a really big deal if our course was certified. So I've been working with this company for about 2 years trying to get them up here to certify this course. So they actually came Saturday.
Really?
Yes. And so I met with them up there. They had already Google Earthed it. They'd already, mapped my run it. But they wanted to come and actually see and where they could actually certify. So this company, they put on races all over the South. And they put on huge races. They're involved with the Mercedes Marathon in Birmingham, the Vulcan 10K down there, races as far up in South Carolina. I mean, they're huge. And so we drove the route, we came back, and we parked in the parking lot behind Broadway Church. And the guy, he told me, he says, well, I haven't even told Laura this story.
Surprise to me too,
This all
folks.
went over the weekend. We're sitting there talking, and he's talking to me about, what we need to do and all that. And then he says to me this. He says, I don't want to give money away. He says, but, he said, what you have here, you do not need a certified course. He said, because this course is so difficult, he said, they will never be a state record broke on it. Never. And he said, that's why you want a certified course, is because you can promote the fact that you've got state records that have been broke on your course. He said, your course is so difficult, no one will ever break it. And he knows, because he had gone back and looked, some of the elite athletes that we had last year. We had 42 elite athletes there last year from Kenya, Ethiopia. We had the Canadian women's national champion. And so he just said, look, with the athletes that you've already had in here, no one will break this record. He said, it'll never be broken on this course. He said, so you've got too good a thing going right now to certify it. He said, so leave it as it is and just continue to build upon what you got.
That is amazing.
It is
It's
amazing. I mean, I was shocked when he told me that.
And he's not even taking into account the heat and the hills and the humidity that we always talk about. Because this race happens in the middle of the summer, basically.
Well, a few years ago, we had some folks from Chattanooga. We're with Chattanooga Track Club. They support us a lot. And so some of them came down, and this was like the end of May. It was probably about 2 weeks before the race, maybe 3. And so they had called me and they said, hey, look, if we bring some runners down, would you run the course with us? And I said, sure. And they wanted to run the 10K. And I said, all right, yeah, we'll do it. So anyway, so I got some of my crazies, and so they came down and we ran that 10K course. And when I got back, I said, I will never run this 10K course again in the summer. Never. Don't anybody ever ask me, because I'm not going to do it. And they said, well, you're the ones that came up with it. I said, well, I don't care. I don't have to run it if I don't want to, because I'm not running it in the summer. And it's too hard. I mean, it's hard enough in the winter, but in the summer, it's awful, because the last 3.1 miles is all uphill. I mean, you're doing this, but the elevation gain is all going up. And that was like this guy that I had was, when we got down to the bottom of Shavy's Hill and made that turn, he already knew it because he had Google Earth it. He knew what the elevation was. And he said, "Oh my gosh," he said, "This is just unbelievable." And he talked about the beauty of our community the whole time. He said this is one of the most beautiful runs of anything that I've ever seen and ever would be a part of, would be this.
And you know, that's one of the things we take for granted, how beautiful
It
the
is.
area we live in anyway. But we do want you to be a part of the Rainsville Freedom Run. It is June the 15th. We want you to be sure and sign up, especially before June the 5th,
June the 5th.
because several people were asking about shirts earlier.
Right.
To get the right shirt, the right size, that's the deadline date.
Right, and then also, if you register by the end of May 31st, then that'll save you $5, because June 1st, registration goes up from 30 to 35, so it's important to do that.
Well, guys, we appreciate so much what you're doing and coming and visiting with us. It's good to make Jerry at a loss for words, just briefly.
Yes.
And that has been a goal. And you survived the recording with the lights and everything.
I know, honestly, I mean, this is
know.
unbelievable. I mean,
It's hot though. He's not sweating this time.
I think that,
It was nerves the last time.
yeah, I think that's what it was. It was just nerves. I mean, just being around David Holt makes me nervous.
Oh, it does. I mean, when you're here at the fest.
That's a good one.
You know.
Listen, you guys signed up for the Freedom Run. We want to break that 1,000 member participation
Yes.
number this year.
And you can walk it.
Yes.
Remember, you can
Yes.
walk it.
We have a lot of people that walk it.
Yes.
So remember, go to Rainsville Freedom Run Facebook page, the website, one more time.
RainsvilleFreedomFest.racesonline.com.
Thank you so much for watching Mountain Valley Today. Until next time.
Building your dream home is one of the great joys in life. At First Southern State Bank, we know construction and mortgage financing, putting today's low rates to work for you. As you and your family move closer to the completion of your new home, we know that your home is where memories are made and families grow stronger year after year. At First Southern State Bank in Rainsville, Scott Kirk stands ready to tailor the right construction loans to meet your needs, along with our staff of experienced loan professionals. Drop by to share your dreams with us today in Rainsville. First Southern State Bank in Rainsville, all the bank you'll ever need.
Folks, this is Andy White down here at Bobby Ledbetter's Twin City in Fort Payne, Alabama. I want to invite everybody to come out to our new location. We're at 1411 Glen Boulevard, right where you turn to go on Airport Road. We've got plenty of inventory for you to choose from. I got cars, trucks, vans, sport utility vehicles of any make and model. Come down here and visit us. Let us see what we can do for you. If you got some slow credit, I've got some banks that'll take care of that. We've got great financing, got a great selection of cars. Y'all come down here and see us.
Don't take the first deal that comes along when you can do better at BobbyLedbetter.com and Twin City Used Car Sales, located at 1411 Glen Boulevard in South Fort Payne.